Welcome back to Loving Everything. Today's conversation is about something I think so many of us feel but rarely name: the experience of being overwhelmed and alone at the same time. Not just physically alone, but emotionally alone. Alone inside of our experience, alone inside of our pain, and alone inside our nervous system. And so my guest today is Kelly Pratt, and Kelly is an AEDP therapist. And one of the central concepts in AEDP is something called undoing aloneness. It was developed by, I said this earlier off camera, but it was developed by Diana Fascia. And this is the idea that healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in connection. It's very relational. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about what overwhelm really is and how it forms and what changes when someone feels deeply accompanied instead of left alone in it. And later in the episode, Kelly will guide a brief experiential demo with me so you can actually feel what this looks like in real time. Kelly, I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me and for offering in such a really beautiful holding of this experience. I really, really appreciate your generosity, and I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have.
Yeah, same. Happy to be here. And I'm just even hearing your words, which I've heard many times. It's so powerful. So even just hearing that synopsis, so I hope that's resonating with people as they're hearing those words. Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to start really simply with what books are you currently reading and what feels alive or relevant in them for you right now?
Wow. That's a big one. I usually am reading some fiction, but I'm kind of in between fiction books, though I just passed Powell's bookstore. So I plan to stop in, probably should have a budget.
I hear that.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I just did wrap up, we do a lot of training in AEDP, and I also had Diana Fascia's. It's like AEDP 2.0. It's been kind of sitting on my desk, and life has been a little busy, but kind of in preparation for our conversation, I sort of just cracked it open, and I cracked it open to a chapter that really is talking about attachment theory. And it's one of those like kind of serendipitous moments where it's really talking a lot about how we might modify this really beautiful modality of AEDP for those with which accompanying or as we move closer and trying to sort of unalone their experience, that for many people can bring up a lot of discomfort. So this really was resonating and kind of just imagining a client. And I really had time this morning. I had kind of an open morning to really digest it. So that's what's really present for me, is really kind of getting to dive into that a little bit deeper. Yeah.
And I believe you told me over the phone when I reached out to you and we connected that you've worked with Diana. Is that correct?
Yeah, she often, well, I should say in our training. Yes, because I'm sure there are probably many people that are hearing this and have worked closely with her. She often does this immersion training, which is kind of there's different kind of bite-sized training, but really the first stage of training where you're getting immersed in kind of the training and the modality. You watch a lot of demos and you practice with one another. And it was very exciting. I specifically waited for the training that she was going to lead because, of course, there's an institute, so there's other therapists and other trainers. But she's just kind of an incredible force when you're kind of in the present and with her and seeing her work with clients. It's just it's so moving and so inspiring. So yeah, being able to ask her questions, hearing a response, getting feedback. For those that are listening and thinking about this possibly as a training, a really inspirational therapist, figure, author. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in supervision right now, and my supervisor for practicum said, "Do you know of Diana Fascia? It's Fascia, Fascia,
I say,
Fascia.
how
We all
in my
say fascia.
original training, Tori Old, who introduced me to AEDP and my initial kind of minding the heart training, so shout out to Tori Old, said fascia, but I have heard both ways, and it didn't occur to me to ask. So I think we're okay.
I know
in
Tori
either.
Olds too
Do
from
you really?
YouTube.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
She has a lot of videos about it, which is why I got introduced to her just recently. This all
Oh, how
happened within the
wonderful.
last 2 or 3 weeks. It's not like I hadn't heard of it. But, and I believe one of our professors showed us Diana in session, but
Yeah, probably.
it was so long ago that at the time I was just like, okay, this is one of 3,000 theories that we've
Totally.
been
You're just
introduced to.
like sponging
Exactly.
so many things. Yeah.
So I remember the name. I remember us talking about it, but
yeah.
I didn't really recall exactly the technique.
Yeah.
And then my supervisor was like, have you heard of AEDP? Because you remind me of Diana, and I feel like you could really lean into that. And I said, it's funny. I have a podcast episode coming up just in a week about this. And she said, absolutely do that. And I said, I already am. And then I ordered as many books as I could find on it through our library. And then I saw that she had a recent book. So
wow. Yeah. Wow. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love all of that aligning. Very synchronous. Yes. Wow.
Yes. So what's one topic you could talk about for hours without losing interest?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I think everything that we are talking around today is such a deep and personal interest. I don't think, and I mean not just kind of therapy or clinical work, which is really fascinating, but I think everything around healing and transformation. There's so many different avenues that I think are endlessly fascinating. I mean, I could have talked about fiction if I was actively reading a book, but it really is just beyond my professional work. These topics I just light up when I meet someone else who is interested in them and interested in going deep into their experience, into healing. And so yeah.
It's fairly isolating once you have done this work on yourself.
Yeah. Well, it can.
Is that where you're leading?
Well, it can be. I think. I'm have almost two little thought bubbles. I think it can be because there are also practitioners that are working maybe on a different level, and I don't want to demean anyone's expertise or focus.
Yes. It's very deep work, though.
It is very deep work, and I think
not everyone's willing to do that.
No, and I have to learn that. That's actually a newer thing where I'm like, oh, not everyone's into this.
Yeah.
Some of my first consult groups, and I would say, I do run into that where it's like, one strength of mine or one ability is really comfort and interest in mining the depths. And so it can be, but finding your group, finding your people, finding your tribe, AEDP trainings are incredibly electrifying. At least for me, they are. And I say that you're in them all day because you're with a group of other people that are like, yeah, we want to do this and we want to do this really more than anything else.
Yeah. It's enthusiastic.
Yeah. But it is a little bit of both because can be maybe more of an alone feeling with a larger culture that is much more, I feel like, about, 42 life hacks to, I don't know, make your morning better or whatever.
DBT,
and it just
skills.
is wow. And I think there's room for that. And
absolutely.
But I also think, there's a lot of room for depth and what is the individual, the collective, moving into deeper spaces. So, yeah.
Well, for me, for instance, with DBT is very structured. It's great for people who are really analytical or cognitive based in their healing. And not, like I said, again, not everyone really wants to go deep, and not everybody is prepared to go deep. Maybe hasn't had or cultivated safety in their life, in their environment, in their community, or don't have a community. Maybe the only safe place that they really are doing this is one-on-one in a therapy environment, right? So
true.
So it can be isolated in the sense that, you know, my family is not doing this work.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Or not
absolutely.
every friend is willing to do this work, right? And not every friend has lived experience like I do, but also that's not where they are.
It's so true. And I think about this like almost like potency. And I'm thinking a little bit of like, DBT came up I was leading DBT groups, which is something when you're in grad school and when you're a new therapist, you tend to lead a DBT group.
I'm about to take it as an elective.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And, it was so funny where I'm like, oh, skills. Yeah. Skills make a lot of sense.
They do.
And I could see how they would be helpful. It was funny. I loved running DBT groups. But I would get through, I hope there's probably a past supervisor that is listening to this eventually at some point. I would see kind of like the amount of skills that we were supposed to cover in a group, and I would like half that, quarter that, and that, it was about kind of potency that, yes, we're talking about whatever skill, maybe mindfulness, maybe wise mind and what that looks like. But so much of the skill being effective in my experience was really accompanying people and really all the attunement, really in some ways, like the group can be like a supportive family that many of us have not had. So, in my mind, I was like, I'm doing DBT group. I'm not going to do the things that but they all really did influence how I showed up in that group. And, you know what I mean? We could still do skills and really be very attuned and very present with one another.
Yeah. I think there's a good balance.
There really is. And kind of moving beyond that, either orness, or kind of like where we all get in kind of our, or we get in our camps and like, this is the right way to do therapy. Like, I really do feel like it's time and place and kind of a potency of what makes sense for this group, and not going too deep too fast, or going somewhere that does not feel safe for someone. Yeah.
What makes you happiest in your everyday life?
Oh, that's such a sweet question. Wow. I'm having like delight and surprise with being asked that. I am such a appreciator of like the little things. So like a really nice cup of coffee in the morning. One of my favorite ways to be mindful is to just watch birds in the morning, and that I really feel very present, very like in my senses. And so that's how I start, most days. And I'm always a little like surprised at how that lights me up. Yeah.
I love birds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know that they, okay, I'm not going to get this all right, but the basics of it are that birds calm our nervous system because they don't chirp unless there's safety in the forest. So that's why we find them so relaxing and grounding.
Oh, that's so interesting.
They affirm that for us.
Yeah.
Energetically. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm such a, I just really want to lean into that. I'm like, the next decade of life is going to be
get into all the bird
focus.
And learn them.
Yeah. And bird watching. It's just, it's so beautiful. And I admire it for me too. I just have this very felt sense, it's a different intelligence, a different system than my own, and just kind of reverence for that of like, wow, because birds are incredibly intelligent.
They are.
Yeah.
Especially like a crow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm on the good side of the crows in my neighborhood, but gosh, like if you just upset them a little bit, it was with good intentions of kind of taking away these like shiny plastic toys they had found, but I had to get back on their good side.
I don't remember what the documentary is. I found out about it. My daughter was obsessed with crows. And someone introduced us to a documentary, and I don't remember what it's called, but Google it for whoever's listening or watching. It shows how through generations they memorize and then they teach. So like if you've done something that harmed them, they teach that facial recognition. They can track it 3 generations down, like in their documentary. It's incredible. And they do like 8 steps. I don't want to talk about birds, but
we've now switched into the bird podcast. Yeah.
But they can do like 8 steps in figuring out a problem solving task. And they're just in like anyways. Yeah. For anyone who's not interested in birds, I get it, but there's something to be said about how we walk through the world and think that we're the only intelligence here on this planet. And I think going back to something you said, right, is recognizing that that's a whole other world that we're not always attuned to or paying attention to. Yeah. And how it's informing us and how it's impacting us.
It's so true. And I think, I think it can be kind of a primary disconnection too, where we feel very cut off or very maybe better than, nature. And so it is, I think, just simply being and kind of just watching the crows. Our neighborhood birds are amazing. It is kind of a little bit of healing that, like, just kind of a being with. So I've heard about the crows teaching. I will have to check out the actual.
It's so fascinating.
The actual documentary. Yeah.
What are you most passionate about in this season of your life and work? You're a professional counselor associate, right? So you're still working on hours.
I'm still working on hours, and I would say my power animal is probably like a snail or very slow moving. Because I've been this August it'll be
I love snails.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is and I apologize. I think woke up with a little bit of a cold this morning. I'm really been embracing like my own pace. Many people that started at the same time as I did, or even, afterwards have gotten their licensure, and maybe that made sense for them. For me, just part of it is the way I work, and also just the impact of this work of just being really mindful of not wanting to get burnt out, of really being able to show up for my clients in the way that I want to, being able to have the training and the tools that I really feel empower me to do the kind of work. So I am still an associate. I will eventually get there. It's not terribly far at this point, but it felt less important to me than racing to
a finish line.
Yeah, the finish line of, in some ways, your client doesn't care. They care about their experience in the room. And I've been beautifully delighted and shocked by how complex and unique like this work really is. It's not just like, yep, I went to work today and I did, so
it's not a weekly check-in.
it's not. Yeah. And just, in really beautiful but sometimes very challenging ways, what it is to do this work and to sit with others in a really meaningful and deep way. At this point in my life, I definitely feel like I'm embracing that, like, I'm slow. I'm slow as all get out. Later in life, like it took me a long time to be able to have the confidence in myself to go to grad school, even though it was something I've been thinking about forever. So
Really?
yeah. I worked in higher education for a long time and was surrounded by PhDs and people with many advanced degrees. And yeah, it's taken me a while. And so I do feel the most myself at this point in life. I think midlife is so beautiful when you can tap into meaning and things that really you're passionate and light you up. So
yes.
yeah.
Loving midlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from the like figuring out how we can see with progressive glass, I mean, they don't tell you a lot of things about
transition lenses. Aren't
transition
awesome.
lenses. Like, but the internal journey has been just incredible. I don't think if I tried to tell a younger version, and even just a 40-year-old version of myself, what this would look like, I think I would be no way. So
yeah, same.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of wonderful.
It is kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you naturally gifted in, especially in the way you work with people?
Yeah. So this has kind of like two prongs. Like what I found just really naturally came to me in the therapy room was something that I realized I've had since I was like a child, that I would meet people maybe for the first time, like maybe doing an intake or assessment, and we'd be kind of going along maybe a little perfunctory, and there would just kind of be, it almost would just feel like a wall coming down, or just, I mean, I have a lot of somatic transference when I'm sitting with people. They would just open up and they would share, and it would be really common for people to say, you know, I've never shared this with someone, or I've been in therapy however many years and this has just never come up, or I feel like you are safe, comfortable, and people would go very deep very quickly. And that felt amazing in some ways. I was definitely a young kid who, like, if I was on the bus or like, I don't know, closed dressing room type of thing, people would just tell me their life stories. So there just feels like there's been some just inherent quality that I've been able to hone a little bit, and then also kind of learn, wow, that is a strength. And sometimes that's really like wonderful, can feel very safe. And it's such a natural thing that I had to kind of learn to pump the brakes where it might be helpful for that person, so they're not so swimming in the depths.
And also protect you.
Yeah, that is such a good point.
There's that too.
That's that too. That is such a good point.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we also need to kind of be ready, prepared, or maybe to have a little bit of a map of where we're going for our own nervous system.
For sure. Or be in the right space to be able to hold that.
Yeah, for sure.
And not take it.
Yeah.
Not take it for your own.
Yeah, that is, it's such a great point. And I think I may be, I'm always kind of balancing that piece, because it feels very natural to sort of attune and to be with.
Yes.
And that is very healing and very powerful. And yeah, we are also a human and a person having our own experience day to day, week by week.
Especially in this climate.
Yeah. And so it is. And that is a little bit of the slowness of when I hear people, and I know people do this, and some people it's right, like, 25, 30 sessions a week. That would never work for my nervous system. I have
no idea who is doing that.
Yeah. Well, based upon, people do. Yeah. It's wild.
And be effective. I don't know.
I think it's a different,
It's a different way.
It's a different way.
Yes. And holding space for sure. But by that, 6th, 7th, 8th client, you must just be tuning out by that point, or just letting them talk.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do that the entire day and that's your style. I don't know, but
yeah,
it doesn't seem to be our style.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a cool thing about knowing yourself and being at this point in your life journey of just knowing like, I'm never going to be the person that can just like do 10 sessions in a day or however many in a week.
I could, but it would be a lot.
Yeah.
It would be a lot.
It would be a lot.
I would feel like didn't have a life at all.
Yeah.
I would just be swimming in other people's lives all day. Yeah.
Yeah, because we are, right? We are impacted by what we hear, what we sit with, by others.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love hearing how grounded and alive you feel in your work.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I'd like to go back for a moment to where it all began.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in your family?
I just like, gently.
It was all safe until it wasn't.
Oh.
I mean, there's a reason why you like to go deep.
Yeah. I think, and I just like, I am closing my eyes just to like, almost just like pinpoint what feels, I think, most true. Yeah, I think I was like alone a lot, and I don't mean that just kind of in a maybe emotional or spiritual sense, but just kind of on my own.
Me too.
Yeah, and part of it too was like that was a little more normal. I think in the 80s growing up, there was more unsupervised play. But I think it's pretty fair to say that I was pretty alone. And I think I really went pretty internal.
Me too.
So I think I was building a lot of infrastructure, not necessarily consciously or knowing that when you're young, but gosh, do I find it interesting and handy now that I do have a lot more conscious understanding. So yeah, there's still, I think, like pain from that experience for sure. Definitely this path and like going to grad school and working on these things, hopefully you work on yourself. It is such a deep dive. Such a deep dive. I was not prepared, but eternally grateful.
You couldn't have prepared us for it.
No.
And I've been known to say in my cohort, they think I'm hilarious anyway, but I've been known to say, if you had told me this is what we were doing, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Oh my God, genograms, kill me.
I know. Oh my gosh.
I'm going to keep bringing that up in probably almost every episode because I was traumatized.
I barely got through my genogram, and I like had to really embrace like art and colors, and I had to kind of just make that something that my system could digest. It was extremely difficult and overwhelming, and gosh, and I don't know if this is your experience, but it was mine. It was coming to grad school at this point with kind of the childhood I had and who I was. It was like putting together a lot of like fragmented self. Like the self was very just not whole. And it's even hard, like as I'm just like trying to feel into it, it's hard to find language. It just doing something like a genogram where I had friends and other people in my cohort were just like, oh, and they're just talking and it was light and they did the assignment really quickly. And I'm like wrapped in a blanket, on the ground doing like blanket yoga to just kind of like breathe and regulate. And, it took me a while, like what is happening in my system? But I was really looking at the whole picture of my own life, of different generations, really looking at it. And if you come from a family where things are really not spoken about, where whatever that looks like in your family, it is very heady to look at things directly, to write papers about it, to share it with others.
Like a science fair.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And to present on it. And you're in this mix. And, I would just have moments of just like people were like talking about their childhood experiences and maybe connections with grandparents or, just a person they're really close to. And you're like, what?
Yes,
And
it's a reckoning.
it is really a reckoning.
It's a reckoning. And then I don't know what your age is, and you don't have to tell us.
46, very proud.
Okay. So 46, but
Yeah.
we're also going to school with people who are half our age, and nothing against them. But like, I had to do a timeline, and of course they were done with theirs in a week, and it took me 3.
Yeah.
Our assignment was actually like, write down every year that you experienced a traumatic incident.
Oh, no.
And put that on your timeline.
Oh, wow.
And I had 5 years that didn't have something that I could remember.
Yeah.
And some people don't live that life. That is not their experience. So mine was a very intensive project, and I would never, I don't know about you. I would probably never use a genogram in the work that I do.
Yeah.
Because it was so re-traumatizing. I mean, maybe you could say I was purging a lot for 3 weeks, but
totally.
I was just crying and crying and crying and seeing all of, just like you, seeing all of the patterns, seeing what I'd been handed.
Yeah. You can't look away. And it's so interesting that you said that. I was seeing a therapist. We actually, a requirement for our program was we had to do so many sessions of personal therapy before we started practicum.
Same.
The best requirement. Every program should have something like that. And I had a similar kind of genogram timeline, a little different, but I had to bring it in. And this is before I really dove into ADP. I had like a little foot in. I had to bring it to that session because I wasn't going to be able to complete that on my own. It was too overwhelming.
Support.
And I had to get started on it. And once I got started, even though it was very difficult and very much a reckoning and not looking away, not dissociating, which was a favorite kind of pastime I think my brain would go to, not going into imagination, looking at it. That's how I was able to complete that assignment. And so I would definitely never, if I were to use one, and I haven't gone, that would be a in-room, activity.
We're doing it together.
Yeah, we're doing it together. Because I think family of origin things, whatever that looks like, or we may be adopted or not know, or it just brings up so much. Often I knew it would be difficult, but I didn't know how difficult. And I think you don't want to be on that journey.
It's like
alone.
Childbirth. You could tell somebody it's going to be really difficult, but then when they actually go through it, you're like, oh, that's what you meant. Right?
I love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that they are just such deeply personal moments. Yeah. You can't tell.
No. What kinds of relationships did you witness as a child?
I'm like, oh, we're going there.
We're going there as far as you want to share with us.
Yeah, there's so much material and so much content. But yeah, I want to stick with what maybe feels most present. Yeah. It's challenging because I think definitely was a child of divorced, and my parents each remarried and then re-divorced. There was a lot of relational, like tumultuousness.
Yes.
Definitely, I think a lot of adults sharing adult content with, I think I was a very parentified, kid. And I think on the outside, I looked very mature and like able to handle it and did, right? I think many therapists are like, they start off of we're little mini therapists in our family. And so there was definitely, that kind of component in a family. And I think, again, seeing that, I think not consciously, but I really withdrew when I could. I loved animals. I loved kind of just being off of my bike. I grew up in Spokane in the 80s, and there was still lots of fields, and you could just go. You didn't have to go very far, and you could just play with crickets. And I was always finding lost animals, helping slash saving animals. Like what are the limits of getting in trouble with the local law? I felt very and I think that was fortunately never a point of disconnection. I felt very connected to the animal world, to nature. I think there was some aloneness, but in a way, those were really comforting things.
Because you were in the spiritual realm.
It was very spiritual without even knowing it. And I think I've been very fortunate. I don't have a person in mind, but I was also a kid that found a lot of helpful strangers along the road, or found connections with parents and boyfriends' parents. And so I think my heart was always quite open to it.
Me too.
Yeah, even if I maybe didn't appear that way, I think it allowed me to have healthier models of relating and possibility. Really feel grateful for how that unfolded.
And also probably why people were so drawn to share with you. Because your heart was open.
Yeah.
Or is still open.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
That.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as I was telling, like, well, that is interesting. How did that happen? Yeah.
That's who you are.
Yeah. That's, thank you.
It's just who you are. It's where you're naturally gifted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you resonate in your higher heart.
Yeah, I appreciate that reflection. Like taking that in.
Good. If you could change one thing about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Oh, I felt like, percolation of feeling there. I think I would have loved to have someone attuned to me. I would have loved to have been encouraged to pursue really, I think my gifts, whatever that looked like. I think I was always kind of craving, like, look, I'm in a play. Look, I'm, like I won this debate championship. And not that there was none of that, but it was pretty limited. I think parents were pretty busy figuring out their own lives.
Self-focused.
Yeah. And I think I was a really sensitive kid that didn't look sensitive. That was really kept internally. And I would have loved to have had someone like more present. I think I had a lot of a fleeting teacher for a year or something like that, which does make a difference. It really does. But I think someone steady that could have helped me, develop my talents to have more love and confidence in myself at a younger age. Because I'm definitely a late bloomer in all of that. Yeah.
How do those early relational experiences shape the way someone experiences overwhelm later in life?
Oh, man. Yeah, I had like 23 thoughts pop into my mind. I think, how do I just be simple about this? I think that you don't have the infrastructure. I'm having like a little bit of an image, like you don't quite have a foundation to stand on. And so when the world sends you things, as it inevitably will, it's like a light breeze can kind of like blow you over, right? Or daily living can just be too overwhelming. And so I do feel like I've been in many different ways, like building that infrastructure, a little bit on my own. And definitely once I kind of started this counseling journey and found the AEDP and found others, it really helped build the foundation and not build it alone. But I so resonate, every time a client says something like, I know I shouldn't be, but like, this is so overwhelming. I so get it. Because if we didn't have kind of a witnessing other, or we weren't attuned to, we can be incredible. We have strengths and be intelligent, and on the outside look like we have it all together. But actually, right, it's kind of like a house of cards, or that like steady foundation is missing. And like, you have to go back. Like you cannot have this like beautiful like house if there isn't something to kind of lean on, whatever that looks like internally.
Yeah.
So I think it has a pretty big impact. I know it had a pretty big impact on me. And that not having makes me really sensitive and attuned to others. Like just have so much empathy and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that brings us to the heart of your work. How do you understand undoing aloneness, not just as a concept, but as a lived experience?
Yeah. I just want to tell a very short story about it.
Please do.
It was in a training group. So Minding the Heart with Tori Olds, which is a wonderful experiential, I think it's now maybe 6 to 8 months long, but you get to know kind of your cohort. You go through together, you have training, and you practice with one another. And this was sort of towards the end, and I was just in a dyad with another AEDP therapist. They had definitely, they were practicing more experience than I had. And I was bringing up a pretty mundane matter. I think I was having, actually, it's coming back, wondering, because this was during COVID, everything was remote. I was like, should I stay in my grad program? Should I switch to something that maybe eventually, if this COVID thing shifts, I'll be able to see more people in person?
Feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like both. Yeah, time got very confusing with COVID. It feels like just recently and a million years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was this was not something that felt super deep or like a wound that I was working with. I was just kind of bringing up, hey, I'm kind of struggling with this decision of do I stay? Do I go? Mm-hmm. And so something pretty light. And they were just following the AEDP, staying with me and staying attuned. And they asked me pretty straightforward questions, is that how you usually make decisions? They just asked me questions no one had ever asked me because they were sticking with me. They didn't have an agenda. They didn't have a goal in mind. They were sticking with my experience.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm having a light bulb.
It
moment,
was,
sorry.
Yeah, no, please. I did, right? It was life-changing.
This is why my supervisor wanted me to lean into this.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Yes.
It was life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
We wrapped up that day of training, and the experience stayed so present with me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, is this what people are talking about when they talk about attachment? I had an intellectual idea, but I did not have a conscious felt sense. I felt amazing. Every cell in my body just felt good. Someone was attuned to me.
You were seen and heard.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it was just an incredible, very life where I'm I want to do more of this work. And it was it was so simple, but it was the staying with and staying present. Really, really, really life-changing. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds transformative.
Very transformative. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you notice people most need but often don't receive when they're overwhelmed or struggling?
I think the realm we were just sort of in is that so often, if we're kind of bringing up something that is overwhelming, we might get advice or, what you should just do. Yeah. Actually, even just saying those words, my nervous system is wants to push away from it.
You're not a coach.
Yeah. The experience of really being witness, of being really heard, of someone taking you in, mm-hmm. Or asking if, what you might need. Mm-hmm. We get so little of that. Our world is very fast paced. We're always multitasking to really slow down when we're overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, that conversation that I had in that little training, my nervous system felt I could just almost just feel there was a goodness in myself, but there was just also a calm that this person was really regulated. They were just sticking with me. And over time, all the chaos and overwhelm I felt with making this decision, I could just feel this settling. And I think we miss that part. We want to help or we want to go into action. I feel that sometimes struggle even now still with therapists. Like, oh, I want to really help. You really want to help your friend, your client, whoever it is. And the slowing down and just staying with before we move into the action. I think that is missing from our world and from our relationships and often in therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that person was able to cultivate safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you probably had experiences, like you mentioned, a teacher for a year where someone else was able to attune to you and see you and hold you in safety, but without knowing very much about your childhood, just intuiting. I would say that, that's what you were deeply, deeply longing for when so much was going on outside of you.
Yeah. And that longing, when there's like an absence or there's a lack of something, like when we don't have attunement, we almost don't know or don't have a language because it didn't happen or it didn't happen consciously or enough for us to say, that's what I need, or that's what I'm seeking, or that's what I'm going to move towards.
I can even ask for that because I don't even know what I'm missing.
What is it? Yeah. Like, and so you almost have to have that like felt experience to be like, oh my gosh, this is the stuff of like relationships. Like, yeah. Yeah.
How do you lead yourself when things feel overwhelming, uncertain, or emotionally charged?
Feels like a very wise question. I'm like, lead yourself. It's a wonderful question.
You are wise.
Yeah. I mean, it's at this point, I feel like I have a lot of tools that are pretty organic that when I'm feeling maybe overwhelmed after a session or something's come up in my own kind of personal life, I would say going back to my like snail as a power animal, like the first thing is like overwhelm. I just feel like there's a lot of thoughts and I feel like a lot of busyness is just slowing down. So that might be just like making myself sort of sit and breathe. I often feel like, though, like some gentle movement like Qigong or Tai Chi is incredibly helpful. I do that between each session. I do that before sessions.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, and now my problem is solved because I did like, a half an hour of Qigong or Tai Chi or meditated. But it really does help me just kind of settle the system, right? Like we can't make a choice or decision when we're just like up here, and we're just thinking and we're overwhelmed. It really is actually
grounding.
Yeah. So I use all the tools. And I think just having also, if I feel really stuck, it is like when I get really overwhelmed, like, and it's pervasive, like, okay, I did all the things, I'm still feeling stuck, I'm still feeling overwhelmed, having like a trusted person, having a supervisor, and I mean like someone who really gets you and really knows you, that you can be very vulnerable. That understands your experience. Like, I know this sounds, they're like, no, what's happening? So I think I always, and I have that, I'm like, I need to unalone myself right now. Starting this business as an associate, I was just feeling just like I can't do it. There's a lot of messages that we receive.
Feels a little imposter syndrome-y.
So much, yeah. And it's like, and I was like, I need to be in a training group. I need to unalone myself with this.
I love that. Who are the people who uplift you and help you feel less alone?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm really lucky to have a really great partner who has supported me through this journey.
Yay. Yay for partners.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even sometimes when he hasn't quite understood, his background is in mathematics and engineering and very different.
Oh, yes.
Very different things. That's
good balance.
Yeah. That's been like really supportive, just that steadiness. I had a really magical dog named Sasha, who I feel like is maybe somewhere out there with me.
Still here.
Yeah.
Still in your space.
I have to tell you, that was such an amazing experience through grad school. There was some health scares. She was like in her later years, and I felt like she really waited for me to, it's a whole thing. Yeah, absolutely. I felt very like, I even just feel like energy rising through my system. She was just such a steady companion, and kind of a cue to when I had been like, just like at the computer or just like, another draft of a paper or researching too much, just like the little, like let's go
Could
on a
take a
walk.
break.
Let's go on
Yeah.
a walk.
Yeah.
Was really wonderful. And also I just feel like, meeting other like-minded, I want to say therapists, but it's more than that, just people that are, they're really committed to their own healing and their own work and sharing it with others. I think as a deeper calling for healing and transformation, because I didn't exactly know what this journey would look like. I thought I'd be getting a master's degree in counseling. And then I was like, I found this much deeper spiritual healing, transformational experience. And that's been incredible because things do get tough. Like you do have papers and you do have overwhelm and you do sometimes have a client session that rocks your world. And so having like a community, I think is huge. Yeah.
I would love for our listeners to not just understand this intellectually, but to feel it.
Yeah.
So would you be open to doing a brief experiential demo with me?
I'd love to.
Okay, good. You're in charge. I'll let you get a sip of tea and I'll get grounded. Put my feet on the floor.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll let you take it from here.
So I'll just kind of keep a time in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm knowing.
And if you want to know the time too, you can check the clock.
Okay.
Right now, if you can read that, it's 52 minutes in.
Okay. That's perfect. Okay.
Is that helpful? Can you see
that? It's good I kind of know where we're at.
Okay.
And so, if I need to check in.
You have plenty of time.
Okay. Well,
Take your
perfect.
time.
Yeah.
Or however long it lasts it's up to you.
Well, as I move around, I'm just going to invite you just to get comfortable like you just did.
Okay.
Kind of grounding. Oh, I did what I wasn't supposed to do with the microphone.
Okay. You're fine.
So just any way that you can make the body more comfortable. And I just noticed that as soon as I started kind of like doing that, my eyes just wanted to close. You do not have to close your eyes. But I'm just going to kind of guide us through maybe just like a minute, maybe a minute and a half of like just kind of mindfulness of kind of just settling into this experiential activity from where we just were. So does that feel okay?
Yes.
Okay. So grounding in the space, and I'm just going to invite, if it feels comfortable, to like soften the eyes, or half close them, or if it does feel comfortable to close the eyes, knowing we'll just be here for a short period of time. We're kind of just arriving into our own internal world a little bit. And just breathing kind of at a normal rate, not trying to change the breath in any way. And I know we've dialogued a little bit about a focus question. So for a moment, you could bring in that kind of focusing question kind of into your mind's eye, or just holding it gently. And if that feels like it still resonates, or if there's something you'd like to spend a little bit of time exploring together, kind of just bringing that up. It could be the words and saying that in our mind's eye, or an image. And then just letting it kind of dissipate, almost like it could kind of sink into maybe a deeper part of our bodies. You kind of imagine it maybe landing in the belly or stomach. And we're going to kind of just let it go for a minute. Our mind might kind of be busy, like we have to remember it, but just kind of letting it go the best we can. And just breathing together. Couple more breaths together. If the mind gets busy, maybe giving it an anchor point, like the firmness of the floor or the chair or the sound of my voice. If we get a little lightheaded or dizzy, maybe using our hands to kind of make contact with our body. Just kind of noticing what's true in our internal landscape. And in another moment, we'll begin to slowly open our eyes, but not just yet. I'll just encourage you to do that as slowly as possible if your eyes are closed or half closed or even in soft focus. We're kind of coming back to the everyday world with bright lights. And I'm just very, very, very slowly beginning to open my eyes and reorienting to the space and us being together. Taking a couple breaths, just kind of looking again at one another and just appreciating the time, that you've made for us to be together and spend a little bit of time exploring a question. But before we go there yet, I'm just, how was that? Just a minute of just kind of breathing, just kind of sitting together.
It's great. It's, it felt like a good transition and a recentering. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Feeling a little recentered.
Reorienting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, reorienting. Is there anywhere where you feel, recentered or reoriented in your body?
I feel a sense of calm, probably because of your voice, of maybe it washing over my chest and into my belly.
Nice. Yeah. So washed. Yeah. So some movement or, any other sensations? I'm kind of leading into that myself.
Maybe I'm closing my eyes so that I can go
I love
back.
that. Yeah.
Maybe almost like someone petting the back of my head.
Oh. Yeah, I just wanted to do that, have that experience. Yeah. Someone, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. When I hear you say that, it feels a little soothing, like someone patting the back of our heads is kind of like motion that you did with your hands. Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, I know that there was an experience that we had talked about of someone sort of really witnessing you. I don't want to assume that that's still alive in your system, but maybe it is. If we could kind of maybe, share in that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. And I've also been thinking about it since. So I can absolutely share that experience. And can also maybe expand on it.
Yeah. I'm feeling that, a lot of expansiveness. Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, when you sort of are kind of maybe touched down just now, or as you've been thinking about it, that being witnessed, being accompanied, what does that bring up for you?
Being accompanied now?
Yeah, and even just as I asked, maybe now, what's kind of alive in your system?
Well, I think your original question went to when was the last time I felt seen or witnessed?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to name that for anyone who's listening or watching based upon the fact that that was a conversation you and I had prior. What's coming up for me is sharing that experience was really beautiful, but also recognizing that it ties into something that I've been working on, which is in being seen and in being witnessed by someone, it reminded me that some of the things that I've been working on cultivating is a lack of performance in my life, in almost all of my relationships.
Wow.
Not because of inauthenticity, being inauthentic, but more because I was taught very early on to perform in relationship in order to keep the relationship stable. And I think the reason why this most recent experience was so beautiful is because I felt seen and witnessed by somebody who had lived experience that was as, for lack of better articulation, traumatic as mine. And not that it was a competition or that it ever is out in the world, but that I didn't feel like I had to mask or save or anticipate somebody else in their experience of knowing that.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Wow. What's it like to share that with me?
It's obviously vulnerable.
Yeah.
It is helpful. It's helpful.
Helpful? Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're affirming the direction that I would like to lean further into.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It really, as you spoke, it just felt so true. So I feel very touched by what you shared.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, part of that is also going through grad school, doing my own work, which I wasn't immune to. But recognizing that masking was a part of neurodivergence that had never been diagnosed.
Yeah.
And realizing that I knew that I had awareness that that showed up, but I wasn't calling it that or realizing that that's what it was. And how that's tied into performance or the expectations of my role in my family system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And undoing that in my relationships with each of the people in my family system when I do connect with them, which isn't often. But, and then undoing it in other relationships. And I feel like because I was gifted with a huge clearing out after a major divorce, that I almost have the opportunity in this way to undo it in any relationships going forward.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what is it like to know that? And I'm going to invite too, like kind of more right brain, like if there's colors or sensations or even just things that maybe don't quite make sense, but that's what comes up for you. Those are so welcome.
Like it feels, like it feels like, let me sit with that. It feels like contained vulnerability.
Contained vulnerability. Yeah. That feels very powerful as I'm just saying it and hearing it again. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I almost want to put a hand on my chest. I don't know how it feels for you, but it feels, something about this motion is coming to me. Yeah. Yeah. What's true for coming up in your system right now when you say that contained vulnerability?
It feels like creating my own safety.
Wow.
That I can be safe in the world and still be authentically me and still be vulnerable and sharing who I am and not feeling like I have to protect others from who I am or my experience.
Yeah.
And also some containment for me and for them. In the sense that I don't need to overshare too.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's okay. Yeah. I almost wanted to rewind or maybe stay with that containment piece. There's something, as you said, that there's just, some energy around it that also feels really important. Yeah. Could you say a little bit more of like how you experience the containment or how do you know? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great question. I think if you had asked me 20 years ago, I absolutely didn't know. Even maybe 10 years ago, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think
There's a smile on your face with something.
I'm trying to find the words.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be secretive. I'm trying to find the words to articulate how would you know. And I'm trying not to get too logical about it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, it feels like almost like a protective safety net that allows some of me to flow through and some of you to flow through. But
I love that. Yeah.
But it breathes, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not complete. It's not chain link fence. It's maybe like fishing net. If that makes sense.
I thought it was so interesting. I was like having this net where there's some exchange.
Yes.
But not all of it flows through and all. Yeah.
And I'm not taking everything in either.
Yeah. Wow. That feels like a powerful visual. Yeah. 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 So I'm kind of like, there's kind of like a fishing net. And it's not kind of like a chain link fence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the holes are rather open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, powerful image. Yeah. So there's some containment. There's kind of a net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And I think depending on different times in my life, maybe it was a chain link fence.
Yeah.
Or maybe there was no fence at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So noticing that.
In that longing to be seen.
Oh.
Or longing to be witnessed.
Yeah. That seems really big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's kind of a smile. I'm wondering, how does it feel to notice there may not have always been a fence? Sometimes there might have been really big gaps, right? And I'm imagining in childhood, right, we have a lot of those chain link fences. And now just to notice the net with me. Yeah. What's there for you?
I think it's relief.
Relief.
I think that's where the smile comes from.
Yeah. We just just a moment, stick with the relief. Yeah. Smile, the relief.
Like I got here.
Yeah. Yeah. Got here.
Not that I'm going to stay here necessarily, but that it feels like I earned the awareness through my own undoing.
Wow. I wonder, and you can edit this word if it doesn't feel right, but is there some pride, like earning, like I did this?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Wow.
Tremendous pride.
Tremendous pride.
Yeah.
Tremendous. So not just a little
That's
bit,
where
but
the
like,
smile comes from.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot. Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. If we could just kind of like almost just imagine that kind of infusing, like we're just kind of like lingering with that pride and the earnedness of it. Maybe not something that was always easy.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that is so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you sharing that with me. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to present honestly. I think I've been fairly vulnerable in other episodes as well, but I just wanted to go deep with you.
Oh,
Yeah, and vulnerably share the things that I'm working on, because in my place of privilege sitting in this chair, I think it can come off that I've figured everything out.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big thing to do what you just described. To maybe for a few moments set aside the role, and we perform inside of a role, right? There's a thing we do. I show up as a therapist, I show up as a host, I show up as all the roles that we play, to be able to maybe have the both, and to be authentic. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I so appreciate you sharing this with me. And yeah, what you shared it really touched me. I'll just maybe ask and maybe process for a few moments of like, what is it like to hear me saying that it impacted me? I was really touched by what you shared, the authenticity of it.
It feels like I have gratitude for you and your willingness to hold the space and to provide comfort or maybe even affirmation.
Yeah.
To share the joy.
Yeah.
And to, I mean, I don't want to force anymore, but I feel like it feels like you created a safe place for me to just be honest.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. It's really meaningful.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Does that feel like a good place to begin, or is there anything else that would be helpful to maybe process together before we kind of transition away from, this kind of time together?
I definitely did not have an agenda. I'm letting you kind of lead that process. But I appreciate, I think I've already told you, I appreciate you witnessing. And also sitting with me in it and helping me recognize it in a way that feels safe, but feels steady and partnered, like I felt very partnered in the experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I'm partnered. Yeah.
Back to that witnessing, just that it feels good to be honest with myself and to have somebody else hear me say it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that reflection. It also just, the kind of sitting together. I really appreciate you naming it, because your words, and I could just really feel, just how they landed within my system. Just really resonating with that. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for making time to explore that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I know we can't do a super deep dive.
No,
but...
I think, and just really where we went was just a little bit of kind of like going into that internal space around a question or the content, but really just exploring it experientially. So often I will ask a lot of like, what's coming up in the system, or what's coming up as I ask you that? What's it like to say that out loud, right? So much of these things, we have them, maybe we've been playing them in our own mind,
Yes.
but we haven't actually really allowed ourselves like the vulnerability, the space to say them out loud to another.
Yes.
And that can be a very big experience. And for them, those like words to land, and for them to also maybe be reflected back, and that we impacted another. So it's, if we were doing this longer or really going into it, but it's kind of just that moment by moment tracking of me to the best of my ability, to the best of what feels safe and comfortable for you, of staying with what's present rather than, we might be like telling a story. We all do this, right? In the past, or we're predicting the future, but of what's coming up now, and staying attuned to you as you share your truth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. I think that sometimes we do. I think that's what was so powerful is I haven't shared that. I haven't shared that yet.
Yeah.
So it's not like maybe it is a major revelation, but it's also the ability to be in a space you created that was safe enough to share that with you, and your willingness, again, to the willingness.
Yeah.
Your willingness to sit here with me as I share that publicly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that. But, we kind of, I think it's part of the beauty. We sort of co-create it, the pacing or how deep or how expansive it goes. It really is just the staying with. And so it is a very mindful practice of really, for me, I always kind of start, if people are willing, with some mindfulness of setting ego, setting an agenda or what something needs to look like aside, because it doesn't really matter. It is, we're trying to just create that being with attunement. And so it can seem like a subtle thing or a really big thing, but it's just, staying with.
Yeah. I appreciate you showing us what that looks like.
I was so happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's see. I'll transition as best as I can.
And I'm like, please, the therapist in me wants to say, please don't rush. Take some time.
Oh, I will. Thank you. Okay. So can you help explain, because this is your modality, what was different about staying, or what is different about staying with emotion rather than explaining it?
Yeah. Gosh, I love it. I love that question. I think we get so much explanation, or even we might get trained in kind of like psychoeducation where we are telling didactically. And I think there's a place for that. Sometimes things are so chaotic that they need some framing or foundation. But I don't think that that's really right. Most people are like arriving at therapy because of how they feel. And if they knew how to sort of just like think differently, right? There's a lot of things that can show us the staying with or being experiential about our emotions, I think allows us to have a felt sense that our emotions can be safe, right? Because explaining away our emotions, reframing our emotions, I just don't think it works, or it really doesn't work for the long haul.
Yeah.
If we can learn to stay with and learn safety in that, and also, right, they're fleeting. Even, unfortunately, the really good, wonderful emotions like happiness and joy and relief, like all these sorts of things,
Yeah.
right, they're fleeting. So if we can, I think, accompany them with safety, and we have a sense of that, like we don't have to learn that. We kind of instantly know. And most of us usually, we want more of that. Like, wow, I was feeling so overwhelmed and I felt awful. And someone stayed with me until I had a felt sense of settling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because of the mindfulness that we did before our little mini demo, I felt very settled already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If you would have caught me having this conversation 2 days ago in a different space, it
Tot-
might have been totally different.
It is. And
Yeah.
I feel like, kind of why it's helpful to do it just at the beginning of each session, even just for like a minute or two, is that we all live busy lives, and maybe we just, had a fight with our partner or kid, or we're rushing. And it's like, really, to do this work in order to slow down, we do have to first kind of arrive even with ourselves, right? Because that is often we're not just disconnected maybe from others, we're disconnected from our own experience. Sometimes we don't even know what we're feeling. We actually have to take a minute to even just like, what is happening in this system?
Yeah.
What am I feeling? And if we've learned to be kind of performative or roles, which many of us do to different degrees, right? We don't actually know what we're experiencing or feeling.
For sure, especially if we grew up in a family system where feelings weren't acknowledged, or we're in a partnership where feelings aren't acknowledged,
Yeah.
or feelings weren't really discussed or modeled to us, so we don't even know what those are.
We don't even know. Yeah. Yeah.
Kelly, thank you so much for modeling what it looks like to sit with someone instead of fixing them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, you did a really good job of that. Not that you need me to cheer you on.
I always appreciate it,
Yeah.
because I think that can be so painful. We've probably all experienced that, where we're maybe a little or a lot vulnerable, and we're given advice, and it can be really wounding, where we might feel like, wow, we really aren't enough. We really do need a complete remodel.
Or we weren't even seen.
We were just missed altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you hope listeners will take away from this conversation, what would it be?
Oh, I think the words that just came up that immediately were, that they're enough, that they don't need fixing, and that they're not alone. Yeah.
You took my last line.
Oh no! Oh
You didn't do
no!
anything
Is that a
wrong.
good time?
It's hilarious. I just think that we were super connected there. That's all I was saying.
It does. The attunement is real, and it does. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
To everyone listening, you don't have to do this alone.
Yeah, you don't.
Thank
Thank
you, Kelly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.